I've not been to any function out here in any capacity unless I hear about them and come out just because the word of mouth got to me. So I'm glad to be in front of you. It's a privilege. I represent this area and I take it very seriously. I grew up out on going to Union Island, Bob Del Porto's ranch, and picking tomatoes and chasing gophers and doing things what kids would do on a farm. So this area is very near and dear to me, and I understand and respect and appreciate this concern that we have and your engagement on the issue. So I'm here to listen, and actually more than anything, I'm here to workshop this with you. All right, so the idea that we're all discussing, Holt School, came to my office based on a premise that I have that we can do something better in our community regarding the homeless issues. We've got people scattered about, they're on our levees, they're polluting our water, they're digging into our levees, they're damaging our levee infrastructure. You've got filth and blight spread out throughout our community. The very same community you guys live in, you shop in, you dine in, your food is delivered to. It's the community that reflects where we are. So we have to take care of that community. Now my idea is an idea that's being utilized elsewhere. There's one place called Haven of Hope in San Antonio, in particular, that I'm familiar with, where they're creating a center where the homeless can go and we can enforce what we need to have in San Joaquin County is enforced code of conduct. But unless we offer an alternate location, we can't, according to the Ninth Circuit Court. So that's being appealed. But in the meantime, we need to do something to clean up our waterways, to clean up our roadways, to clean up our neighborhoods, to clean up all the filth and the blight, and have compassionate levels of care for those that A, need it, and those that want it. So we need to create something. My idea was to create a center, a central location where resources are, where you can sleep, where you can eat, where you can get mental health services, where you can get rehabilitation services, where you can get job training. So you have stability and you have options and opportunities to have a better life. That's what I'm standing up for and wanting in our community. We've got what's the board that we're going to on Thursday? We have a continuum of care board. And in the last 2-3 years, they meet. Sometimes they get a little bit of grant funding. They have a housing project that gets 30 veterans. Fantastic. We get veterans off the street and into some stable housing. But that's costing millions of dollars for tens of people. So we're clearly not going to house our way out of this. There's no spaceship's going to arrive with billions of dollars that we need to house those that are in need and those that are causing the problems in and throughout our community. We're not going to have a spaceship of money arrive. So we have to utilize resources that are possible in whatever we can do. Now, we all admit we have a homeless issue. I mean, I don't really need to workshop that. We have a homeless issue. Now, Holt School, that project, somebody, sorry?
There's no homeless out here. We don't have any out here. You're going to bring them out here.
Okay, so you don't have a homeless issue here. Do you live anywhere in San Joaquin County? Okay, so in San Joaquin County, we have people living, about 2,000, 2,500 people roughly, living homeless, scattered throughout San Joaquin County, in cities, on roadways, on waterways. They're whether it be in a rural area or in an urban area. You're shaking your head no. Are you aware, okay, yes or no, in San Joaquin County, are you aware that there are homeless people living throughout, from border to border, including cities? Are you aware that there are homeless people? The answer is yes. Yes, sir.
Los Angeles County has 60,000 homeless. We spent $619 million last year. The problem increased by 16%. So just throwing money at it, providing it to a location, not just you've got drug-addicted people, you've got alcoholic people, you've got mentally ill.
You're not telling me anything I don't know. We have mental health issues, we have drug substance abuse issues, we have people living filth, blight. We know that is happening here in San Joaquin County. You can deny it, you can pretend it's not here right outside on your roadway outside. It's here in San Joaquin County. So
ratio of urban to rural.
I don't care about the ratio of urban to rural.
We do.
That's what you're going to say. I know you are. money in my office and the Board of Supervisors. We have no discretionary funds of $2.1 million to do anything about that. Now, there's organizations called Continuum of Care in San Joaquin County. They're applying. They're getting some funding. There's state funding. There's federal funding. There's a lot of funding being
You're not
pursued.
looking at that at all.
I'm sorry?
You're not looking at any of that $2.1 million.
I'm not looking at what?
You're not looking at obtaining any of that $2.1 million. Do you not hear me, or are you trying to figure out?
I'm not hearing what you're saying clearly. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not hearing what you're saying until that's why I asked what to repeat it. I'm unaware of $2.1 million. If there's money out there to be applied for, it will be applied for. But I personally, in my office, am not aware of $2.1 million.
Now you're kind of returning. Now you do know what I'm talking about.
No, I do not know about your $2.1 million that you're talking about. If you know if you want to talk while I'm talking, I'm not going to hear what you're saying. If you want to listen in my answer, you want to say something accusatory towards me or something that I don't know about and ask if I know about it, I'm answering to you. I do not know about $2.1 million you are asking me about. If you know of a resource of $2.1 million, I will pursue it. If you know of a funding channel of $2.1 million,
You knew about the source.
I do not know about the source that you're talking about. Why we're arguing about it is irrelevant. We're here to discuss a bigger issue. Now, let me just hold your questions for a second. My office was contacted about Holt School. I didn't go pursue Holt School. I've looked at Holt School as a possibility of something to consider. On this Thursday, I'm going to the Continuum of Care to talk about Holt School or any other viable possible location that would be suitable for a resource center.
Why has construction started out there? Before we ever did anything? Why has
I'm not a project manager over there. I don't own that property. I don't manage it. I don't authorize anything. What they do, what they want to do, and why they contact my office is because they are engaged in wanting to do something out there for homeless. They want to.
What about the people that love that school? Two doctors love that school.
They're
What
funding
happened to them?
They're funding.
Really? And they were going to put a church, now they're not going to do a church, now all of a sudden
I
they're
can't
treating
counter
it
that.
all homeless?
Ma'am, I cannot counter that.
Well,
I know those people.
somebody who
I have, there are doctors that own it
yes,
that have
they were going to
authorized
do a church.
that have authorized the property manager that's overseeing it to pursue what he's pursuing them. I'm not part of those conversations. I wasn't part of the purchase. I'm not part of telling them what to do or put in showers or do anything else.
Well,
I'm
there's a lot
part
of reasons why
of
you can't do it out here. There's no hard.
I'm part of trying to find a solution for what is plaguing San Joaquin County and other areas throughout all up and down the state and all
Well, not
over.
our area.
When it comes to nobody wants it in their area. Nobody wants it in their area. Not one person wants it in their backyard. Not one single person will say, this is a great idea next to where I live. We know that. So here's,
What about the navigation center that was proposed over by St. Mary's Dining Hall? Where
What
you
about
already
Rough and
have an infrastructure in place?
there are all sorts of people talking about lots of things, but not.
Like there you have the homeless shelter,
Sure.
and you have St. Mary's Dining Hall, you would have food for these people, and you would have mental health people
You
always
have
coming in, and you have buses.
it's all
Up
the
here
things
you
you're
have
talking about. You're 100% correct, and I actually talked to Stockton Homeless Shelter about using the parking lot across the street from St. Mary's Dining Hall and utilizing that as a bigger, better, more useful resource center for the homeless population. No question about it.
Permit.
Now, so I'm answer your question.
Yes.
Every business in the Downtown Alliance, every business neighboring around from NJ McCutcheon and all around saying, they're pulling their hair out saying, look, I'm going to leave Stockton, we're going to shut down our businesses, all the filth, all the blight, all the crime, all of the damages that that population does around them is not helpful.
That's not true. You're lying. Because I'm part of the
Excuse me.
Hey, I raised my hand and you won't call on me. I tried to be nice to you, you won't be nice to me. So you can be quiet. I'm gonna talk
If you
now.
want this to
I'm
be
gonna
great,
talk now.
we're
I
gonna-
don't care if you have
Don't stand in front of me.
I don't care if you have a microphone or
Don't
not.
stand in
I
front
got
of
a
me and
loud
call me a liar.
I'm gonna tell you
Don't
what.
stand in
You're
front of me and
lying
call
to
me a
these
liar.
people. I'm calling you a
Don't
liar
stand
right
in
now.
front of me and call me a
People.
liar. You want to get on the phone and talk to NJ McCutcheon?
I don't need to talk to anybody because you know what? I fed 4,000 people in the last 10 months on my own freaking dime. You ain't done a damn thing but running off this board of supervisors, a project manager. You're paying all these people while me am out there feeding people. Am I feeding people? 4,000 people in the last year.
Fantastic.
And I'm on disability, brother.
I'm glad you're doing that.
And you ain't doing it. You ain't doing it. You ain't bringing people out here.
Let me ask you a question.
You ain't bringing people out here.
Let me ask you a question.
What?
When's the last
Did you
time?
raise your hand? If you didn't raise your hand, you don't deserve to ask me a question, because I raised my hand, you wouldn't call me and listen to me. So you can just be quiet.
I'm
You don't
trying
have to
to move
talk.
forward on the narrative.
You don't have to talk.
I'm trying to move forward on the narrative and conversation.
But it's not working.
You want to be disruptive? Well,
I'm not being disruptive.
Listen.
I'm part of groups on Wilson Way that are cleaning up the prostitution.
Let me
That are
ask you,
feeding people.
when's
That
the
are
last
housing
time-
people.
when's the last
We're not
time-
doing it on government money. I fed 4,000 people on private donations from people. On people that live in this city. And if I can find a house to live on Wilson Way so I can help more people, I would move down and put it in my backyard. Because I'm a human being. I'm not full of bureaucracy looking for government money for $2.1 million or anything else. And for you to bring people out here, I've housed homeless people in my house. I've given my garage up to more than one homeless person. And they've lived in my house. And they've gone and turned me into Justice today, working for Comcast, working for the city of Stockton. I've helped people personally. So for you to say that nobody wants it in their backyard, you're a liar. Because that's not true. That's not true. And for you to bring people out here, if I was homeless, I wouldn't want to come out here.
They don't.
I don't want to ride my bike 8 miles up there. And you're not going to have what I want out there because you're not asking me. You're going to have a soup kitchen and you're going to feed me whatever you're going to feed me. You're going to house me in however you want to house me. Why don't you put it in the city and help out in the city where the problem is and not out here and disrupt these people that have been here for hundreds of years? So when you're ready to stop lying, turn your microphone back on and tell these people some truth. Don't open your mouth if you're lying.
If you want to, first off, don't insult me. First off,
Don't insult me?
I'm not insulting. I'm not insulting you, and
You're
I'm not
insulting
calling you. I'm not
everybody
calling
else.
anybody a liar, and I'm not standing here in front of you lying.
I'm just
You want to
telling you.
grandstand? You want to grandstand? Feel free to grandstand.
Grandstand for
Let
what?
me ask you, if you want to speak while I'm speaking, I didn't interrupt you.
Go ahead.
So while you're grandstanding and accusing me of all sorts of things, of being in bureaucracy, and doing all sorts of doing nothing and disrupting lives, none of which I'm promoting, I'm looking for solutions. When's the last time you invited me to participate in anything you've done?
I don't have
you
to.
accused me of what I didn't do.
I don't
So you're
have
doing
an
something.
office.
Congratulations for taking an effort, because we need grassroots. This isn't all government solved. The government's not going to fix anything. It's going to take community involvement. You're accusing me of not being involved, so I can't do everything. I know I've employed homeless people, and I've taken people out of being homeless at my business right down the street from Wilson Way. So I do what I can in my little part. I'm trying to find solutions. You want to accuse me of being a liar? I don't lie. I'm an example for my daughter. I'm an example for my daughter, and I'm a responsible representative of this community. I don't stand in front of anybody and lie. Don't accuse me of it.
You're not an attorney. Where's Roy Santos?
That's an absolute fact. I respect what you have to say, but be respectful to me.
So let me ask you a question. Why do you have an office full of people to do what you're doing? And
Why do I have an
and
office full of people? I have no office full of anybody. Right now,
You
the
just say you have
continuum
an
of
office
care.
and a board of supervisors.
Right now, there's a board called the Continuum of Care. I'm not part of it. In 4 years, they've accomplished almost virtually nothing. They're looking for a housing first model. They want magical hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to show up to do housing first. That's what they're looking for. I need to move a narrative forward different. I believe, as I'm listening to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people talking about the problems we have, we need a central organized program, not scattered about. Where that is, I don't know. If I was a betting man, I would have to say hope on a scale of 1 to 10 will be below 0 probability of happening. But it's a narrative that I could utilize of what we need. We need a central resource center. We're all talking about it now. The great part is, my idea is moving forward. It's not the Tom Patti plan. It's my idea of what I've heard from hundreds of people that are contacting me and looking at what's the best possible solution, and it's a central area. We cannot get the filth off of our levee banks. We cannot get the feces that goes into our water that you guys are farming with that water, that we're recreating with on the Delta, none of that could disappear until there's action taken. According to the Ninth Circuit Court at this time, we have to satisfy that. 2 years ago, I promoted ordinance against the homelessness, scattered about. I wanted no camping zones, no camping time. Ninth Circuit Court came and shut us down before we even moved it forward out of discussion. So I'm trying to find a pathway to success. Is Holt the single best idea? Absolutely not. It's an idea that wherever it's going to be located, and your voices are all highly important. Your engagement in the community is going to be heard. That's why I'm here, to take feedback, but let's find a solution. Let's not pretend like there's no homeless. They may not be here on the street. The homeless may not be on the street here. The homeless is in the community. The health of our community depends. I'm sorry, but I'm done talking. You can speak on that. The health of our community depends on making sure that we're clean, making sure our water's clean, making sure that the homelessness is not affecting our business and our prospects. Okay, that's an absolute fact. So we know that we have a problem with homeless. If we want to do questions and answers, I'm more than happy with that. I know that we all have ideas, solutions. I want to workshop this.
Have you applied for a permit? That's all I'm asking. I just want to.
There is no permit to apply for because we're not looking to do anything.
Yes, you are.
They already ADA regulated the restrooms there in your video.
Guys, I want you to listen to what I'm saying one more time. The idea of Holt is not necessarily site specific. It's a premise of what we need to do. Where it's going to go, I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll probably put Holt below 0 of probability. There's not suitable water out there. There's not suitable sewage. There's not suitable connections. There's a lot of things that are not suitable. I'm aware of all that. I'm aware of all that. We're doing our research. I was contacted by a group that represents that property. They wanted to do it over there. They volunteered it. I brought in the stakeholders. I brought in the resources of what we could utilize if we were going to do it there or somewhere else. And we're now vetting out that possibility. I don't believe that's going to end up being a feasible location in the end. But it's an idea, it's a premise of where to do it. So we have some suggestions. Let me workshop this. I heard some suggestions, okay? I heard Rough and Ready Island. Let's write down Rough and Ready Island as a possibility.
San Joaquin County farm labor campsite that is there.
Okay, so where is that located, Nanette?
How do you not know you are county supervisor?
Where exactly is it located? I don't know where the farm labor is.
Literally share something with San Joaquin County.
Everybody's talking right now. I'm sorry. I do not live out here. Where exactly? I'm sorry. Everybody's
Okay,
talking.
you're our county supervisor.
Where exactly is it?
Are you familiar with the jail?
Yes.
Okay, it literally butts right up to the jail. It's a fence. When you're
Fantastic.
driving down Matthews Road,
Next
if
to
you
the
look
jail.
left, you'll see all of the sites.
Next to the jail, it's called.
It's the San Joaquin County Farm Labor
Okay,
site
San
of some
Joaquin
sort.
County
I don't know
Farm
the formal
Labor.
name for it, but it has the infrastructure. There's buses. There's a hospital there.
Great.
There's the county jail right
Great.
next to them, and it's got fencing and so forth with the infrastructure that will supply your homeless, drug, and alcohol addicts services.
Great. I love it. Thank you.
But I don't know how you didn't know about that. You're our
I
county supervisor.
I don't have labor. I've never hired anybody for
Honey,
labor to work at my house.
You're our county supervisor. It is part of our county infrastructure for this area. How do you not know about
So
it?
how many of you ever invited me out here to learn and know about these things?
You were here at our water meeting. You were here at our water meeting. You came to the water meeting. You did my
Farm labor place, guys. Okay, I'm a bad guy. I am right now categorically a supervisor in district number 3. I don't know where that labor camp was. That makes me a really terrible supervisor for you. I apologize. Sorry that I don't know where the labor camp was. Is it an active labor camp or is it a shuttered one? Is it active now? It's seasonal. Okay. So I don't know that. I'm not a farmer. I've never hired anybody out there. I've never had to house anybody over there. I apologize. I don't know about it. Thank you for pointing out my shortcomings. Yes, ma'am.
I think we all need to take a deep breath, especially you. We're not here to attack you, Supervisor Patti. We're all aware of the homeless problem. We all understand that services need to be centralized. That is a very good idea. But the location is Holt. It's not central. problem that can be brought out to the farming area.
Dump your trash in the country, right?
Yeah.
Just dump your trash out here.
Thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
ma'am. I appreciate your decorum. I appreciate the suggestion and the advice and the engagement. So we're all workshopping this. So we've got the farm labor camp that Supervisor Patti did not know about. We've got Rough and Ready Island. We've got Holtzville, which is not central. We'll get to the problems of why that doesn't work in a moment. What other places do you like? Yes, sir.
You have the fairground.
Fairgrounds, San Joaquin Fairgrounds. I've already been out there. I was the director, walked the neighborhood. Beach Street, all the neighbors there, they're old. Horse stables, all that's been suggested.
Port
And
Authority.
you have an empty prison on Arch Road over there. And you have a medical facility right behind it.
Which empty prison is that? Is that the females one?
Yes, it is. It's empty.
Is it a state or county program?
I'm not sure.
So female prison off of Arch Road? So female prison off of Arch Road. And then fairgrounds, I would suggest. Okay.
What about the Port Authority military housing?
Port Authority, military housing.
There you go, it's all empty.
Okay.
Those
So-
containers are all empty.
So all of these suggestions will be fully vetted, just like we're vetting
Federal
both.
government and the Port Authority.
Sorry, I made a mistake. I made a mistake of talking while you're talking. Go ahead.
Well, I was just suggesting that area. Is that a problem with the federal government, or they not make a deal? I don't know who runs Port Authority, that's Coast Guard, or whoever's in charge of that. They don't wanna help them make a deal out there, there's something out there, it's right there. It's empty, boarded up, it's housing for military,
Okay, so I can reply. So all these suggestions will be vetted, just like we're vetting Holt. So that suggestion will go on the board. There'll be reasons, pros and cons for any of them, and any suggestions are good suggestions. In the very back.
I got two questions. One, you mentioned that two doctors own the whole school. Are they proposing that this happen? Are they the ones that want to do this with their own camp? That's one question.
Sure. I can answer that one. I've never met those doctors. I've never spoken with those doctors. The property owners, I'm told, are in support of the property caretakers moving forward with this idea and pursuing it. That's why my office was contacted.
Yes, they're all right. Okay. So second question, how many people would this be, supposed to be housed on this campus? How many people?
I would imagine the idea, I would say we probably need to have a facility, whatever it is, at least in excess of 1,000 to 1,500 people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot.
I mean, you wouldn't want that in your backyard either, right? That could be a proposal to put on the board. I mean, you wouldn't want that either. It does bring problems.
My backyard wouldn't house that.
Ours should be.
So next suggestion,
Yes,
sir.
those is.
Yeah, just briefly, I'm not gonna be presenting here. There's no fire department out there. None.
We're talking about, we're talking about, right now, guys, I want to try to have a creative, constructive meeting here. So what we're not looking for is, I know there's reasons why that location won't work, and we're going to get to that.
Okay,
Okay.
another thing.
I'm looking for the suggestions of what would work.
Okay, but just briefly, if there's a medical emergency or somebody's having a problem with drugs, the fire department's not gonna come out.
I agree with you. I understand
And
that.
the sheriff response is
I-
gonna be delayed.
I understand that's one of the problems why that area would be difficult to work. I understand that.
One more thing, okay, the equipment, the farmers drive around and, real slow, and the water is, you can't use that water. In fact, one of the school board members, they were trucking the water when they shut it down.
When it was a school.
That's
Yeah.
right, they shut it down.
I
And then
understand.
the drainage ditches, just right by the school, with all the stuff.
Yeah.
That
We-
Highway 4 is just extremely busy now.
Sure.
Any more traffic, buses, whatever, it will be awful.
There will be, we're jumping subjects, we're not sticking with what I'm asking for, is what will work. But there will be inherent problems at that location. Are they insurmountable? No. Are they probable to make it the most likely? Is it gonna be the best place to be? Maybe not. So that's why we're workshopping it, that's why you guys are engaged in this, and I truly, in spite of the animosities or the accusatory tone of some, I'm not the one that's created this came to my office. So I am creating and looking at the narrative of what it would, where it would work, if not there, where. So what's any other suggestions of where else it could work? Yes, sir.
I have a suggestion for you. Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
Take a look at how Treasure Island, what they have done with Treasure Island, because I've worked on Treasure Island many times, and they've turned the old military housing into Section 8 housing, and they have transportation, so they can bus back and forth, and the county out there gives them free bus or a bridge pass, so that they're able to get across. Now I understand that Section 8 is one level above the homeless issue, but what I'm saying is that what Treasure Island has done is a perfect model of a start for doing something. So in your research time, maybe check that out as a thing.
Great suggestion. I love the Haven of Hope too. If you want to check that out, you'll kind of get the idea of what they're doing. Suggestions of where else this could work. His hand first, please.
I'm not a local here, but listening to this conversation, nobody has said any census has ever been done in the rural area about how many homeless are out here. I'm getting a feeling that there are very few homeless out here.
That's correct.
And so why did you say before that they're polluting the water, they're wrecking the levees and all that stuff? That wasn't based on fact. That was just something that you pulled out of the air.
That's incorrect, sir. If you're in the central area of Stockton, and if you're, throughout wherever the waterways are, from Sacramento to San Joaquin County, there are encampments dug into the levees, staged on the levees. People are throwing their their waste.
How many people are in those camps so you can figure out what the population is that you're trying to help? In the rural areas, I agree that there's a big problem in the urban areas, but until you figure that out, this is just a waste of time.
That's one perspective. Yes, sir.
I'm Dave with Windmill Cove, and I agree with the whole crowd that would be a poor choice for a location, but there are a lot of homeless out here in rural areas. We deal with it on a daily basis with the encampments that are along the levee along Windmill Cove Road and all the way on Turner, all the way over to Turner Cut. There's no less than 20 encampments at any given time that are out there, and they are polluting the water. We have a nice sandy beach down at the end of Windmill Cove. We have found needles that have washed down the river on that beach, and we get as many as 200 to 300 kids on a weekend that are swimming in that water. I've seen the pictures, and Madam Farrow has been good about posting them on Facebook of all the pollution that's in the water that's directly coming from the encampments on the levees within Stockton. So whether it's hopefully not hope, but this is a problem that needs to be solved somewhere, because it is affecting our water that's coming this way and our levees. And I do have to thank the Sheriff's Department, because when we make a point of calling any encampment that shows up along Windmill, because we drive it every day, that the Sheriff's Department will go out and post it, and any trailers and stuff parked along there, they're gone within a couple of days. So, but it's because we call and complain about it. Someone else wants to start calling about the rest of it down Nuremberg and there Turner Cut, that would be helpful. But I have to thank the Sheriff's Department, they are very responsive. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So I'm still looking for, in 1 second, I'm still looking for where do we want it to go if we're going to create any type of compassionate resource center for some sort of structure and accountability. Where would that be? Yes, please.
First of all, are you going to hire them with no contract? They're going to have to keep coming out with the farmland more often. Second of all, farmers got lots to do with their hands on it. Last thing they want is sabotage on equipment that's out there. And don't pay for anybody to own that place.
Two great concerns. Absolutely.
They're going to be shitting in the fields, and then you're going to be complaining about E. coli outbreak when they get to state or somewhere else. And then they're all going to get labeled.
Okay, we're jumping ahead.
The last thing, there's nowhere in farmland that the homeless should be. City created the homeless. Not saying they should stay there, but everybody can agree that it shouldn't be the farm.
Thank you. I appreciate those. All very valid concerns. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've got homeless on the levee. We all agree that there's homeless on the levee. The way they skirt the law is all they have to do is move their vehicle 8 feet, and the whole process starts over. Now, there's a section statute that states you cannot even enter the levee. And I believe the sheriff department patrols it daily. I mean, you will be cited if you even fish on the levee. That's a way to keep the levees clear. You just admitted that every business around that Stockton, St. Mary's Hall area, you just admitted that everyone's pulling their hair out because of crime. You're going to put that right in the middle of farmland where already batteries, fuel, get stolen daily. Everyone in this room that's a farmer has had something stolen.
You're absolutely
Me
correct.
included.
Valid point, valid concern.
40 feet away from that location. What are you going to do? Put sheriffs with armed guards and towers every time they cross the fence? I get called. It might be 20 minutes to an hour of response time. They come in and report. The guy's already gone. It's easy for me to go straight to the recycler and identify the car because I already saw him and witnessed it. They make an arrest, big deal. 3 days later, he's back doing the same thing. And you're going to bring it right in the center of, that's what they want, aluminum. I'm not saying, everyone agrees there's a homeless problem. But you can't put it right in the middle of the community that's been farmed for hundreds of years.
You said it yourself. You haven't
Makes perfect sense. I
You
understand.
said
your
it yourself.
concern.
You haven't farmed, right?
I'm sorry, excuse me. Go ahead.
You said it yourself. You haven't been a farmer. Okay? That means you don't know what the world they live in. Okay? I fix their tractors, and I hear the vandalism, dirt in the engine oil, and stuff like that. That's more headaches for them. And then everybody complains when the food prices go up. Well, you know why?
Very viable concern. I understand exactly your concern, the point you have. Everybody here in this room has an opinion of why this doesn't work. What I'm asking for right now, maybe we've exhausted the profile of where it does work, and we want to shift to all the reasons why it doesn't work. Have we completely finished with the idea that we've got 4 suggestions or 5 where it could work? Any suggestions? Yes, Tim.
How about Sharp Army Depot?
Sharp Army Depot. We'll write it down.
Is that being fully utilized out there? It looks like a lot of empty buildings to me.
Yep, great suggestion. I know it's been talked about. I'm not going to qualify or disqualify why it wouldn't work. We're going to focus on why Holt won't work after this. Okay? Yes, sir.
Now, Tom, don't you have like Office of Emergency Services that has a list of all the facilities that would be available if a disaster would occur, where they needed to house people temporarily or something like that? Because I would think in the county there's somebody being paid to actually know what facilities are out there, which ones are utilized, which ones aren't utilized, either tax-based or non-tax-based, and in case of an emergency, where can you move these people?
It's a great point. In order to activate anything like this, because of course Holt School or anything comparable in the middle of downtown Stockton that everybody might want it to be in, it has to be declared an emergency shelter in order for that to work, because it clearly wouldn't meet code and all the standards needed. So any active center that I know of is probably more of an active facility, not able to go something permanently change to emergency services for what would be months and months on end. So that's an idea to check with the Office of Emergency Services and see if there's any viable remote location that might help and might be more suitable. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, because they talked about the fairgrounds and stuff like that. So there's, even though it may not be a permanent source, it's temporary, but you can turn it into something else.
Sure. This Thursday, when we go to the continuum of care, these suggestions will be out, just like Holt will be a suggestion that's been talked about. It'll be vetted through this process, and the reasons why Holt may not be viable in other places will be more viable. So it's a great suggestion. Any other suggestions on where something like this could or should go? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask you, a care meeting, is that open to the public?
Is the continuum of care meeting open to the public? Yes, it is. 22nd at the Downtown Civic Center. Sir, in the back.
I just want to say that there's almond trees being planted all around that school.
Wait, you're into the reasons of why it won't work. I'm looking for what's the locations that we do have that would work. And then please we'll share about the almond trees. And I want to finish with what would actually work as a location. We've got several really good suggestions that could be vetted. Yes, sir.
There's several 60,000 plus square foot warehouses out by the airport. They're empty, not being used, for nothing.
Okay, empty warehouses out by the building. Out by the airport. Okay, empty warehouses out by the airport. We'll check those. They're privately owned. Maybe they could be acquired. Maybe they could be utilized. Yes, sir.
What we do in San Joaquin County or any county in California is something we mandated. It's a statewide problem. Camp Roberts was given over to the state of California by the United States Army. I've been talking about it for 10 or 30 years. Nobody was doing anything. The infrastructure there has gone down. Pipes are all rusted, buildings are falling down. But there are several thousand acres of ground there. There's room to build anything you want there, and sheltered workshops, and they can produce a lot of their own food and supplies there. Camp Roberts.
Camp Roberts. And would that be easily accessible to find out where that is?
Yes, down 101, and it's right on the edge of 101 by San Miguel.
So that's out of our county.
It's a state problem, not a city or county problem.
It's our residents are something we have to take care of. Yes, Paul. I'm sorry, Paul, a little bit louder, a little louder. I can't hear you.
It sounds like when you came out here, there was only one place that had been old. So now you're asking for suggestions. Okay, so then, I don't know what the process is, but it would sound like to me that there should have been some public meeting, area to put these in before you just decided to put it in one spot. Okay, and then you have a lot of other problems out here that I won't mention. And, you know, services, all the people need services, we don't have a single service.
Hey, so hold your thought. I'm going to shut down the idea. No, Paul. No, you are going to finish. We're going to shift to things that don't work.
Supervisor Patti.
We're shifting. Go.
Supervisor Patti, let me finish. If you want to, you know, your attitude here and the way you're handling this problem is not what I consider being correct.
No, what we're doing, Paul. Paul, the only thing we're doing.
No, I've got the floor.
Okay.
I've
Go
got
ahead.
the floor. Let me finish. So, there is no services out here. And then the other thing is, you've got the Delta Commission. You've got the Delta Commission you have to deal with. The levies in the floodplain. Okay. You've got no bus service. All right. You've got no fire department.
Hey, man, go slow, run right on down.
What do you mean? Why do I have to explain this to you? Can't figure this out. Why don't you ask some of the people?
We're documenting all the concerns.
Employees who are supposed to look into these things.
We're documenting all the
You
concerns.
already have a list of what isn't available there. All I'm saying is, you come out here with the attitude that we're wrong and you're right.
Not true.
Yes, it is.
Not true.
Yes, it is.
There's nothing,
And
Paul,
now you're
there's
asking-
nothing
now
right
you-
about my.
now, wait a minute. Now you're
Yeah.
changing tune, and you want us to suggest where we should put these homeless people. Well, you know what? We all got ideas, but you know what? It should have come from the county to start with. There should have been other meetings before any of this was even brought about.
Yes.
This is not the process you just say. Because the developers in Stockton said you gotta get the homeless out of Stockton, put them way out there. The county is not handling this the way it should be handled. Okay? This is not the right process. You just don't pick a place and say we're gonna do this. You have to go. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the board of supervisors, it has to go to it. You gotta have 3 votes. You ain't gonna get them. Because you don't have a good plan right now. And that's what needs to be done. And that's why we have this homeless problem, because it's all pieced together. Nobody does anything that's right. It's pieced together, jumbled someplace else. Been moving them around Stockton for how long now? Out there where I live, we have a lot of problems with homeless. Okay? Why do you think we got all the theft in our area? That's part of it. Why do you think they collect so much garbage? And why do you have green water in the channel over there in Stockton? Because of the homeless. So the homeless problem just didn't start. It's been there for years, and now all of a sudden we're gonna fix it. This problem is bigger than just fixing, okay? And I feel that county's process needs to be developed to do this, and not just all of a sudden, somebody has an idea, we'll just move them out there. We can put the services, we can move them out there. You need to go through the process.
Oh, this is the process. I appreciate your engagement, your suggestions, your
It's not
concern.
the process.
We
because
are
we haven't had
documenting.
county meetings at all, anywhere else. That's the only reason we're here is because the suggestion was made, you're gonna move them out the whole school. That's the reason we're here. Never, so this is not part of the process.
The suggestion was to create a resource center. Whether Holt School is that location or not is not the issue to me. The issue is creating the resource center where we locate it will become will become the point of action. So right now, engaging in and identifying what the pluses or minuses about Holt and sharing all of your experiences. This is your backyard. This is your guys' proximity. So what those concerns are is what we're going to document so we can share.
We have a whole county to deal with. Why don't we put them in Manteca? What about Ripon? You've got Lodi. You've got all these others. You've got, what about Larkford?
If you have any location,
schools out there that have been closed.
if you have any location that you know of, let me know, and we can also move that narrative.
The county itself needs to look at them locations. It shouldn't come from us.
On Thursday, when we go to the continuum of care, that's exactly what we'll be asking them to do. Holt will be one of the possibilities that's been discussed. It's already, it got some media coverage, so that's why we're all here engaging in why Holt isn't good. So I understand that. I'm here to listen. We're here to write it down. I am going to write it down so that we're not redundantly repeating the same thing. Yes, ma'am.
We're here and you have no idea what's wrong with Holt School's location. Like Paul said, well, there's no sewer service. How are you going to build a sewer large enough on that parcel for 1,000 people? Ain't going to happen. There's no water because the well that's there has arsenic in it, and nobody has a well out there that they drink the water from, and you can't cook with it because there's no potable water unless you dig a well to China. They may have better water in China, but there might be a tariff on it. The school was remediated partly for asbestos. Okay, well, asbestos is asbestos, you know, they might have painted over it or did whatever they did, but they did do something to try to keep the school open. Now, the other thing is, it's in the floodplain. There's no fire department. It takes forever for anybody to come out and find a dead body in a refrigerator in the ditch. Big problems out there. And I, for one, like my neighbor down there at Windmill Cove, deal with those homeless people living on the levee. They go up there, they get all the rocks out of the river, make a fire ring, build a fire. There's wheat net right there on the levee, and peatland burns. You're gonna get a fire department out there to do what? Save the foundation, right? That's it. You cannot put 1,000 people in that small of a space. You can't do it in town in that small of a space.
All the big concerns.
And that should be on your list as to why Holt School is not going to be a viable option.
That's what we're doing, writing down all the reasons
You
why.
should have known that before you even came here.
That's right. And I want to repeat something I want to be very crystal clear to you. My office was contacted by an organization and individuals that wanted to do something out there. I'm then going to go through that process. I informed people, I brought stakeholders to it, we're bringing it to light, and that is a possibility. I'm bringing it to the continuum of care. I am not personally promoting that as the spot to be. I'm promoting the idea that we need to create a resource center where we can have services, where we have compassionate care, where we have accountability in and around our communities because of the blight we have caused by those that are at risk and in risky behaviors. So Holt School came to me by other people that are trying to do something over there. They have been in motion. They are moving forward with trying to create a homeless encampment center over at that location. I went there with stakeholders to look at and review. I went there with members of the Continuum of Care. On Thursday, I'm going to talk about that location, the pluses, the minuses, but the idea that we need a single resource center for compassionate care that has wraparound services and one set location where we can bring people that are living scattered about throughout San Joaquin County. That single location, Hope, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to repeat this. On a scale of 1 to 10 is probably below 0 in probability based on the things that we're finding out about that location. But the people that were operating that, managing it, that want to go forward with a homeless encampment have brought me on board to look at that as a viable location or not.
What part of managing that location are you talking about?
So, I'm sorry, man, somebody else was talking.
The people that bought that property
Yes.
from the county, all they want to do is lease it back to the county so that they can eventually make some money on it.
We don't know that yet. I don't know. To me,
That's
a
their
lease
thought.
back on that is probably $1 a year if we're going to be involved in services at all.
RDS owns it, the county.
Sorry, somebody's talking in the background without raising hands. But right, man, wait, this young lady right here. Yes.
He knows the private owners.
Yes.
So you have this list and you've been saying a lot of good ideas about it, but
Yes.
what's your game plan for actually bringing this to me? And is there, you said it was open to the public, the meeting on the 22nd?
22nd, yes.
Is there public involvement in it, or is it just like witnesses? Like you can just-
My first time I've been invited to talk to them about my idea, what I'm calling a true care plan. I asked of the Continuum of Care organization, Adam Cheshire, who was hired by the county, I asked for a 90-day plan of action, and so far, whatever they might be working on, I'm yet to see it. So I wanted to come forward with a plan of action of something for them to consider, whether it be Holt School or something else that would be comparable by location, that would be better, more suitable, is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to create and present the pros and cons of anything for the continuum of care that goes and writes the grants and goes and gets the money and has the a multitude of resources all involved in their organization, in that board. So it's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm planning on presenting those pros and cons, but more than anything, I'm looking to present the narrative of what we need to be doing by creating a resource center to help those.
Yeah. Is this exact list going to be brought into the meeting, or are you going to take the list, do research, and bring in something and propose? Or like the exact words that we can say?
I'll be sharing what's being shared, yes.
Okay, that's just the concern, is that I feel like a lot of good ideas are being said.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like this needs to be actively represented.
Yeah, it absolutely, it will. That's why I want to be careful about documenting what you bring. Thank you. Great questions, and that's why I'm carefully documenting what's being shared so we can relay the pros and cons, the good or bad. Okay, nothing is impossible, but the question is, what's best? What can we best do? What's most suitable? And again, Holt School, from what I'm finding, is likely not to be at that location, but the premise of what I'm looking to create is what I want to see go somewhere. Yes, ma'am.
Were you the one on the YouTube video guiding homeless people through the whole school? Yes, recently? Yes.
I don't know. I didn't see a YouTube video, but I was a couple days ago, last week. There was some media, and we did a tour.
It sounded like it was a done deal.
Yeah, it's not.
You are the person.
And you were encouraging.
Without finding out all the facts.
I was encouraging the possibility of what that place could be.
You were saying how wonderful it is.
I didn't say anything about wanting to one
Yes, we heard you. We saw the.
If I said that word,
I mean, you said, "Oh, look at, we have a stove, we have a kitchen, we have a gym. They have facilities for showers.
There is a
they have all
facility
this."
there. Yep.
Yeah,
There is
but
a
you
facility.
did all this, so
Totally promoted it.
I think you're just promoting Holt School.
Lying to us.
Why
You
are
know
you
who RDS
promoting Holt School
Because-
without all these people
because
not even knowing about it?
The property managers at Holt School
Because the doctors want
are
to turn it into
creating.
some money. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, you're answering your own question, so
Yeah.
you don't need me to answer anything.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps you misspoke or I misheard, but in your opening remarks, you said the only thing I know about Hope School is I facilitated the sale. Did I hear you right?
No, not at all. Not even close to. You might. Not even close to. I have no idea the sale was long before me. I have no clue at all. Yes, ma'am.
I have more questions. You said you were reached out by the owners of the whole school.
The property managers of Holt School. Yes.
What was your plan before that?
first idea I had, yes. Okay.
And then, is there any sort of budget set for the plan that you're, thinking about?
Sure, zero budget set, nothing set aside at all. The initial conversation I had was to do something with the parking lot in front of St. Mary's Dining Hall. It's a large parking lot. I want to put some big spring tents up there, put 300 plus people. You've got food facilities at St. Mary's. You've got the Stockton Homeless Shelter already actively taking care of people, and there's pros and cons with that idea. But my initial idea was doing something in that parking lot where it's a little more central, and there's resources, some resources right there. So right next to you, she's nodding.
Really quick for this gal, the continuum of care meeting. They usually just do like a presentation and then it is open for as much time as they can for discussion. And I think anybody can go.
Okay. Yes.
My question is, are there going to be rules that they have to follow? They cannot drink, they cannot do drugs and stuff like that because they will not know.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the advantages, and I know we clearly know that everybody in this room, not one person is in favor of Holt School. One of the advantages of being in a more remote area, wherever that may be, could be on the moon. If there's enough funding, you can create a great colony on the moon. Okay, let's just say it's somewhere not in our proximity. Is when you're outside of where you're committing crime and stealing and getting money for your drugs, and where you're buying drugs, and where the drug dealers have infiltrated the encampments. It kind of breaks that cycle. So the idea was to be somewhere in a more remote proximity where you wouldn't be engaging in the illicit activities that are sometimes they're self-defeating. So it's a possibility why that would work good or not.
Out there, just like they follow them to the canal. They'll follow them wherever the money is.
You're right, and that's a very big concern. You are correct. That's a concern that the drug dealers will find a way to get there anyway. Hold on a sec, sir. Yes, sir.
For 3 years, 2012, 13, 14, I worked in the homeless in California. You cannot cage up a cow. You cannot bring those people in and cage them up and expect them to do right. They get you miss it with their head. You cannot do it.
Sure.
These people are used to the city lights, the sound of the streets, you know, the city life. You bring them out to Holt where there's nothing going. There might be 20 cars a day go down that road. I don't know for sure how many. These people are not going to stay there, Tom. They're going to walk up down Highway 4. Somebody's going to swerve to miss a homeless man and take out my family. It's not.
It doesn't work for you. I got it. It doesn't work for you. I respect and understand that.
We got Tracy Unified School District buses running up down that road day every day with 50, 60, 70 kids on.
Kids get off at that location.
We cannot, yeah.
No, I understand that. It doesn't work for you. I totally understand. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, a little louder.
I'll get back to the almonds. There are people planting almonds on both sides of the school.
Okay.
So you don't think they're going to live inside the almonds? What are the farmers going to do when they're sprayed? They're going to have to call the sheriffs every time to get somebody out to move? Those orchards need to be sprayed, whether they're by ground rigs or by air. They're being sprayed. So you're going to have people living out in those orchards. You're not going to prevent that.
Very good point. Because there will be buffer zones and areas that we want to do. Certainly the last thing we want to do is
guys sneak out in the orchards?
Are supposed to do and need to do to maintain their crops. So that's a great point. Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
It seems to me that you have your planning or thought process upside down. You should have a list of criteria of what is needed for these people: transportation, medical care, psychiatric care, food, everything that they need as the first priority of how you start looking at a site.
So to answer that question, when we did the walkthrough, I tasked everybody that was assembled there of what's the challenges and what's the possibilities. What could you bring on board by way of services, support, or funding that would make something work there? Or if there's a better suggestion, where would that be? That's what I tasked that group for. I don't have all the answers. I just know that I want to drive and move forward with the narrative that we need to create a central resource center for that compassionate care, for levels of engagement, for being basically a platform of where they can go, where they can transition to a better possibility.
You've heard it before, but 7 or 8 miles out of Stockton, it's not centrally located.
I understand that. That's good, and that's a good point.
site polluted.
Yes, sir.
facilities.
No, you're, great point, I understand.
Yeah, my other concern is that you're gonna bring out 1,000 people or 1,500 people. You can't keep them locked up, so they're free to roam back and forth. So you're gonna have 1,500 people becoming aware of Roberts Island who may not have known of Roberts Island. So you're gonna have bicycles, you're gonna have whatever. So all of a sudden, we're gonna have this population that's aware of Roberts Island, that the farmers work, they may not be home, they're easy pickings for robberies, their equipment's easy pickings, everything's easy pickings up. So you're gonna bring in a group of people that have not been here and introduce them to the area and the vulnerabilities of the area.
Great point, and I appreciate it, we're writing it down. Yes, sir.
I think they won't find a way to migrate back to Stockton. You're wrong, because go Lower Sacramento Road,
Yes, sir.
Stockton's a Lodi every day.
Okay, Tom,
Bicycle.
you said earlier that this morning that people came to you in your office.
Correct.
Yet we found out about it. You're our supervisor here on Roberts Island.
Yes, sir.
And we found out about it in the newspaper after you had organized a complete tour of the facility there. Found it in at least 2 different newspapers, on the computers, and all sorts of things. You own this site. You did not involve anybody in this community with the discussion before you invited people out there to check it out.
That's
We're
right.
finding out now that it's a bad site. You just need to understand that you own this site at the moment. Because
I own the
were
narrative.
on
Okay,
the
go, sir.
newspaper, you were on the videos, leading the tour. And you should have known and should have involved several of the people out here before you got anywhere near a tour of that site.
Okay, I understand your point. I understand your point, and I own the narrative of looking at that as a possibility of something to explore. I am 100% on that narrative, and I did it. I don't have contacts for a central organization out here to sit down and talk with, so I definitely own bringing people out there to talk about it.
Your video did not call it a possibility. There was nowhere in newspapers.
We talked about what could be. No, we talked about what could be. We didn't talk about what is going to happen. We talked about what could be. And that's why I tasked all of the stakeholders that were there, different department heads, different people that have funding streams, people from the continuum of care. I tasked them. I told them on Thursday, this is something for you guys to then look at and move forward with.
The people that you had there did not have a clue what the problem was at location.
We're doing that now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you should have done is involve more farmers before you went forward. Another thing, I find it hard to believe that you would rather make that concentration camp of some kind versus making it a school for kids again. Another thing, you're getting all these ideas from all the farming community. I hope you don't twist it around and then make it to where they're paying for whatever I guess.
I would, let me understand this correctly. You're thinking I'm getting suggestions and I'm going to twist it around? Or
It's
insinuating something?
easy for somebody else to read the paper, seeing it in a way that farmers said they should go over here in the city or they should go here, just because of the ideas they're getting.
No, that's not, all those ideas that are being talked about, except for the farm labor camp, which I have no idea about, they've all been, Reformity Island and other locations have been talked about. So that's not, the farmers want it here. That's not going to be twisted around in any way, shape, or form. These are all pretty much ideas that have been discussed in the past, from Reformity Island, Sharps Army Depot. But I'm going to vet those and discuss that possibility as well.
Next time you think of doing something like this, I recommend you spend a little bit of time with the farmers.
Yeah, good idea.
You're the supervisor for the area.
Yeah, temporarily.
No kidding.
There's an election year coming up, and there's a rally calling here to let's make sure we don't re-elect Tom Patti. So Sorry, sir?
You do not own the property, somebody else owns the property.
Yes.
Okay, so people own their property, they got their plans, they got it. You're the supervisor for the area. How do we make sure things like that do not take place? You know, you can't put a sewage system in for 50 people on that property. I mean, it's got all the negatives. How do you make sure, what can you do to stop anything from like that happening in this area?
Again.
Or at that site? You didn't pick the site, they did, they gave you, I realize all that. How do we stop it? How do we make sure it does not happen?
The way you stop it, that's a great question. The way you stop it is the exact thing you're doing now, is engaging in the process to be informative to people like me that move forward narratives of what's possible or what we're looking for, what we need throughout the community. Right now, as hostile as it is towards me, the best thing is that you're all here, you're engaged in your community, and you're looking for a voice, you're looking to inform us of what is or isn't a good idea.
Well, you got FEMA, you got Department of Health, you got everybody.
There's a multitude of departments.
Say no.
Multitudes of departments and regulations. Believe me, probably of the list of 20 things that are bad about that location, you can probably mitigate 15 of them. You can do portable bathrooms, you can bring in water, you can get around lots of things. But does that then still make it a great location? Probably not. So all the concerns that you're raising are all viable concerns. Instead of mitigating the concerns, you probably look at it and go, okay, well, let's close the chapter on that possibility. Let's look elsewhere for something similar.
So have you as a supervisor, have you closed the door on that possibility?
Like I said already,
I know below zero, I heard.
it's probably a below zero
It
probability.
still means there's something there. Have you closed the possibility of that site?
It's not going to be my decision. I'm going to leave this up to the continuum of care board. I'm sorry?
You're taking it to them though on Thursday.
So I'm going to take it to them, and I will own the fact that I brought forward the narrative in this possible location as a location to do a resource center for homeless, where there's accountability, where there's compassionate care, and blah blah blah. Okay, I will own that.
What else?
And I will own the fact that this has been a robust discussion, and there are viable reasons why that location is not suitable. But I do want to task the Continuum of Care Board with taking action, with finding something that would be suitable, that would be serve the community and clean up what we have going on in and around San Joaquin County.
We spent the whole beginning timeline. Okay, and you took advantage of this group to come up with the think tank and everything for that. This group got here because of that side.
Yes.
So when you take it on Thursday or whatever, and it does not happen, it is not accepted.
Thursday's not going to be a decision day.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What is going to stop the people that own it from just doing their own thing and doing it anyway? That's my question.
So based on what I'm hearing, great question, I appreciate that. Based on what I'm hearing, due to the fact of the water, and we're supposed to get a report back from our environmental health department on the conditions there on site and reasons why, probably because of the water, because of the sewer, because of the ground, the nitrates, there's a high nitrate level on facility, asbestos was raised. So there are very tangible reasons why the door is going to have to be shut on that location. Very tangible reasons why.
From your side of the project, but what about the people that own it just doing their own thing?
Yeah, at that point they wouldn't have the buy-in from the resources that are needed, and I'm sure they wouldn't get permitted, or that area probably wouldn't even have a declaration declared for an emergency shelter to be utilized at that location. So it would be rather challenging, that location, but it doesn't shut the door, in my opinion, on the narrative of where we can do it. Somewhere there's got to be a place that we can do and create that resource center. Okay, that's where I'm going with this. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I've been raising my hand for a really long time. I understand that you say that this is part of what you are bringing on Thursday, which, granted, that's just 3 days from now. So not a lot of time to find out this wonderful information that you relied upon us to give you that probably you should have looked up before you decided to bring it to a public meeting and present it as a viable option. But even if I were to set that aside,
I appreciate that. Set that aside.
What else are you bringing? Or is this the only one?
To the meeting on Thursday.
To the meeting on Thursday, what else are you bringing? This is your only option.
I'm bringing forward the narrative of what we need to do in San Joaquin County by creating a resource center, a single location where we can have accountability, where we can have structure, where we can have care. Yes.
And any good
so that's
plan,
that's what I'm sorry, you're talking about.
any good plan requires a viable site, right? If you're going to bring this as a plan, you have brought one site. What other sites are you proposing that you are also investigating? Or is this the only one you're bringing?
I'm not proposing anything other than the Continuum of Care Committee, which is a blue ribbon panel of people that have money, that have funding, they have their finger and pulse on what is being allocated from the county or from the cities and from the state and from the feds. So they are tasked with accomplishing something at some point. So I'm bringing my narrative forward with there was and there is a proposal from stakeholders out at Holt about utilizing that location, which may not prove to be a viable option, but I want the Continuum of Care to move forward with what they can do to find something that's satisfactory or something similar to what that location would bear, but somewhere else. So to answer your question, I don't have any alternative. I don't have that as the location. I have the narrative of what we need to have an impact with the homeless population that are polluting our waterways, endangering public safety, and so on. If that answers your question. Yes, ma'am.
Supervisor Patti, this would be a non-conforming use in our area where it's zoned. So would it be the Planning Commission or the Board of Supervisors who would grant any kind of a waiver for this to be located at that site?
Great question. I asked County Council what's involved if we were to declare something an emergency shelter. Cities have the ability to do that, but it hasn't been fully realized what the counties can actually do. So we're looking at that, and that would be part of the process. So there is not a pathway for that to happen right now that's known. Does that answer your question?
So it sounds like we'll end up at the Board of Supervisors.
Oh, I see no reason to go to the board. I don't see that. I don't see it even going that far. I don't see that the Community Development Department would be permitting it. I don't think that the county would openly declare an emergency shelter a suitable location for an emergency shelter. I see no reason that you'd go to court. No, I don't foresee that at all.
I said Board of Supervisors.
Board, she said.
Board of Supervisors.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear. So you said, again, it would be going to?
I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, that we will end up in front of the Board of Supervisors with our suggestions and our objections.
As this goes further along the line, I would imagine what would happen is the Continuum of Care Board will come forward with whatever they can find, whatever they're finding is the best allocation and use of funds to create something similar to what I'm suggesting. They may not. I'm not a one-man army, and this isn't the Tom Patti plan. This is something that I made very clear in the meeting the other day, that I am asking the stakeholders, I'm asking those that have resources, those that have funding, to look at this idea, this premise, whole location aside. The premise itself is what I want to move forward with. If we're going to have any type of no camping zones, if we're going to have any type of accountability in San Joaquin County to stop the blight, to stop the filth, to stop the open drug use, to stop the defecation, to stop all of the ills that are happening from that population. If we're going to do that, to me, the best pathway forward is to find that location where we can have those resources available and have basically a big umbrella of care and services. And from that, once we create that, we can have structure and accountability throughout San Joaquin County.
One last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to recommend this site to the Continuum of Care?
No, I could not at this time recommend that site. No, not at all. Not at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. No. I might have picked up. I might have won back a couple of votes here, but that statement, just a couple.
You're still going to present it.
I'm presenting the narrative. Somebody just said I'm lying. Somebody say lying again? Interesting to use that word. Yes, sir.
You keep talking about one site for the whole county. I don't see that one site
would suffice. You need to be looking at multiple sites.
That's a great point. Manteca's looking to do something similar already. So that's part of my district, and Manteca City on their own has a piece of property, and there's some work that has to be done in order to access that. But they're working on that type of thing. It's a volunteer effort as well. Yes, in the back.
How is it all going to be funded and paid for? You haven't really set a definite way, one way it's all going to be paid for. Is it going to be county? Is it going to be special money? Is it going to be a commission? Is it going to be voted on?
Great question.
eventually?
Because a lot of funding is one-time funding, so what's sustainable? Stockton has a population, roughly 1,000 of the homeless are living in Stockton, so they have to be a buy-in from the Stockton at the city level. There has to be a buy-in at the county level. There has to be a sustainability process to this, unquestionably. And I've not identified that. I'm hopeful that the continuum of care would identify what that screening process would look like and how it has to come together in the support
And does
services
the
that we need.
continuum of care actually run and manage the facilities no matter where they're at? Who's paying their salary? Where's that money going to come from?
Who's paying the continuum of care salary?
Yes.
So everybody that's on that board is volunteering without pay. There's one person out of Cheshire who's been tasked with heading homeless efforts on behalf of San Joaquin County. His funding right now is paid by a one-time grant that will sunset, I think, at the end of the year. And then we'd have to decide if that's worth pursuing having a director in that position or not. So it hasn't cost us directly at the county level, but
Not yet.
it would.
Not yet. Not yet.
It would in the future if it's considered worth keeping. Yes, sir.
We talk about the traffic, but I don't think enough has been brought to mention. There are there's no shoulders at all on that road.
It would be very detrimental for pedestrians, for certain.
There's over 300 employees that pass that area every day going to work. Either PG&E or farming, and all the freight trucks coming up. And the fog in the wintertime is very detrimental. There's a lot of problems with people walking on the road.
There's an inherent factor of safety that has to be considered before any place would be chosen, and that's a great concern. I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, yes, wait, before you go. The old fiber board plant.
I want to step back for a second and not out of rush with sounding like convenient. I'm not trying to be at all. But the Orchard Supply Hardware building on Hammer and Lower and Pacific Avenue and Lower Sacramento or Thornton Road, all you need is a facility. Everybody's already there. There's literally 200 homeless people within the confines of that little block neighborhood right there. And the building's empty. And the property's fenced up and there were already people camping and building houses in the parking lot.
Great, thanks for coming with that suggestion. You got it. Hang on a second. Yes.
Moving forward to the future a little bit, how do you prevent something like this from being considered in the future?
How do you prevent something like this?
Yeah, for somebody to come with the brains and think, hey, let's pick that location in the middle of the farmland.
By doing exactly what you're doing. Getting
But
involved, voicing your concerns.
this is after the fact that somebody already considered that.
No decision has been made. There's no lease been signed, no money has transferred, no departments have moved in any furniture. Nothing has happened but a talk, a walk and a talk about the possibility of what a resource center could look like or where it could be located. Not where it is going to be located. So by engaging in this process exactly like you are, and having a strong sentiment and being allowed to be real is and I commend that. I appreciate it. I am amazed and impressed. Let me pause for a moment. I'd like to get everybody's attention here. Let me tell you guys, let me compliment you. I know farmers growing up. I am from San Joaquin County. All right, I believe you farmers, you property owners, you guys are the ones who take the greatest risk in business. You never know weather-wise and market-wise what's going to happen. You pay your taxes, you mind your own business, you take care of countless hours on a daily basis, you take care of your property, and you take care of what you're hoping is a sustainable future. I get it. You guys are the best, hardest working taxpayers and the riskiest business owners because agriculture is a risky business in my opinion. So I compliment you, and I know how busy you are and how important your time is. For you to take that time and come here and talk about this, engage on this issue, which is highly concerning to you, I thank you for that. And as you said, how do you get involved? Organize. You know, in your future county supervisor, it may not be me. Maybe you invite him to a crab feed. Maybe you invite him to events that are out here, so you make sure that he's included in the emails so he gets to know you. The one time when I was a candidate, I forgot who it was, maybe Eddie Zuckerman brought me to a holiday barbecue for ducks or something. It was wonderful. I got a chance to meet a lot of farmers. Never been invited again. So, I mean, it must not have made a good impression. So that's that. Yeah, you can see why. And your chances are you and I will never break bread. I won't invite you to my house. You won't invite me to my house, your house.
October 19th.
But I'd welcome you to come out to lunch with me sometime.
I'm throwing a block party on Wilson and Weber at 6 o'clock, and you're more than welcome to be there, sir.
I'd love to be there. I have a business right off Wilson Way. Yes, sir, in the red.
Weber and